Hey, Champion Nation. Welcome to the Champion Nation podcast. Hey, Champion Nation. My name is Kayshawn Cooper, and I am the host of the Champion Nation podcast. This segment is going to be slightly different than our other conversations we've had in the past. This segment, we are putting together, we have put together a compilation of all of our guests that we've had on the show in 2023. 2023 has been an amazing year. And when I mean amazing, I don't mean that everything has gone your way or my way. I mean, it has just been an amazing year. What is life without a little adventure? And I'm not trying to downplay some of the disastrous events that has happened. Some of us have lost a loved one. Some of us lost a friend. Some of us has had health scares. Some of us has, lost a house, a place to stay, transportation, lost a job. We have to rebuild our career at 40 and 50 and 60 years old. But that's life. It is. That's the beauty of life. It's taken what life has dealt you. It's taken the hand that you have been dealt. One of the favorite games, one of our family favorite games is Uno, right? And I'm not that good in Uno. Literally, I get destroyed when I play Uno. But our 9-year-old son, Jabari, he does a fantastic job at beating myself and his mother, my wife, in a game of Uno. He takes those seven cards, and he knows how to play his hand. He knows when to skip, when to throw out the draw 4, when to throw out the reverse. He just knows how to do it. He knows how to play the hand that he's been dealt. He knows the rules. And that's how he's successfully able to beat us in the game of Uno time and time again. The thing is, here at the Champion Nation, we put together a compilation of all of our guests. And we highlighted some key points throughout the conversation to give you the tools where you're able to take whatever hand, the 7 cards or more that life has dealt you, and play that hand according to each experience and situation that you've been dealt with. We have some amazing speakers. Now, you may not have gotten everything you wanted in 2023, and sometimes that's to be expected. It happens. But 2024 is quickly and swiftly approaching. I'm sure you have your goals in place, and if you don't, stop what you're doing and put a few goals on a poster board and take action. That's what you're going to hear a lot of in this short compilation. Take action. You're going to hear from different angles, not just business professionals. You're going to hear from a MS warrior. You're going to hear from a breast cancer survivor. You're going to hear from people who relocated. You're going to hear from all over the globe. We have England. We have who else? We have Australia. We have people from all over the globe, other champions, to help inspire you to move forward, to be able to, as my grandmother would say, take a licking and keep on ticking. That's what champions do. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and comment and share. I look forward to seeing you and connecting with you on the other side, 2024. Take care, my fellow champion. I hope you enjoy what you see and hear. And see, hear. Yes, I hope you enjoy it all. Take care, my fellow champion. You said there's no cure for multiple sclerosis. What have you found to be your cure?
Great question. I would literally say that for me, it's a positive mindset. And so I bridge together the positive mindset with prayer, and that's my recipe for being able to deal being able to cope and kind of, deal with the unpredictable nuances of MS. There's a quote that I'll actually share with you, and it says that a positive attitude, I think it says something like, let me try to get it together. A positive attitude gives you power over your circumstances, instead of your circumstances having power over you. So I think it's said by Joyce Myers, and that's something that I really, really appreciate. So a positive attitude, it gives you power over your circumstances, right? Because sometimes we can't control it. Like, I can't control the MS, instead of the MS or my circumstances having power over me.
Our relationship with ourselves is everything. Our relationship with ourselves is part of what conditions how we relate to other people and the world. If I internalized very positive messages about myself from my family, you're loved, your gifts are wanted, we value you, we respect your opinion even if we don't agree with it. If I receive that in my family, it's very likely that I've internalized really positive messages about who I am and who I am in the world. And I'm going to bring that to my relationships with other people, because we really internalize the role models and the behaviors and the experiences that we have growing up. And so if those role models and those experiences are injurious, and what I've internalized from my family, and I'm going to include my larger environment, because we're all part of school systems and sometimes places of worship,
Correct.
Economic systems, what's happening in our social life, especially work and family and friends and community. That's all part of the family system. If I receive messages that I'm not wanted, that I'm ugly, that I'm stupid, that I'm not valuable, that I'm not lovable, that my life is not worth saving, that I'm only good for what I can produce for another person, or, that kind of thing, then that's what I've internalized. And there are hundreds of thousands of people internalizing those kinds of messages in their homes and in our society today. And we have to know that they're going to be symptomatic. And so that's part of what I talk about, is what are the symptoms for people when they're not treated well by other human beings. And I say this over and over again: love and belonging and cooperation and peaceful conflict resolution are the best foods for human beings. And when they're...
So learning how to let go with love, whether it's letting go of a relationship that's not healthy for either one of you, letting go friends who are not in the same places that you're in. You guys don't think the same. You don't share the same values, right? Your character is different. You're letting go because there's something else out there, another group for you, another relationship. That's how the universe works. If you have this old beat up car in your driveway and you want a new car, you only have one space. Well, that new car can't get there until you get rid of the old. So be okay with letting go. And then seek out communities and relationships that help you grow. And that's not a selfish thing. Relationships are an exchange of time and energy. And it should be an even exchange.
But the thing you need to do is understand the mechanism of how this works and do the best you can.
Absolutely.
You can't eat the wrong foods all the time, because it will kill you. I mean, it does kill people. And to get back to the stigma and the shame, the fact that people blame diabetics makes diabetics unwilling to talk about it, because nobody wants to be thought of as being fat and lazy and irresponsible and being the reason for them having diabetes. And by and large, that's what people think.
Absolutely.
To tell you the truth, you know what, Sean, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Until I started looking into it, I really thought that all a type 2 had to do was lose some weight and they would be okay. But that's not even close to the truth. It doesn't matter how much weight they lose. They'll control it better, but they'll never be rid of insulin resistance.
How do you think you could apply hard work and dedication to your life overall?
Well, you have to be determined in your life, so if stuff doesn't work out or someone says no, you can keep on trying and work harder.
Has that happened to you personally?
Yes.
Can you give us an example?
Well, sometimes kids didn't accept me in school because they didn't want to play with me, and then I kept on trying, and then they wanted to play with me.
Okay. So you were persistent.
Yes.
Okay. Have you used that type of? Well, are there any other examples? Have you using that in your life?
Sometimes I've been chased, so I just ran away.
But outside of school, you also played sports. You've played.
Oh yeah, in flag football.
Okay. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, when I tripped and I got a bruise, and I kept on playing throughout the game.
How badly was that bruise? Did you hurt yourself? Okay.
Because I did a whole 720.
In the ear or?
No, on the turf, and when I got a carpet burn.
Oh, like grass burn on your knees, your face, your arms?
Right
okay.
there.
Okay, and you flipped over?
Yes.
Okay. Did it hurt?
Yes.
Did you come out the game?
Yes, but then my coach called me back in, and I thought she wanted, but I was going to ask her, but since she knew my dedication in the other game, she called me back in.
To be a champion, you need to find your true nature and be truthful with yourself. For me, it's interesting. I always thought, oh my God, it can only be fashion. And when I left that world and I signed off and sold my name and sold my company, so that was the deal. I couldn't be in fashion anymore. I thought, that's all I know. I was beginning to think, oh my God, I made a horrible deal. I feel really lost. And then I found my true nature, which was honestly to be a winner. And so getting into a new field and being particularly proud at my age of learning a slew of new things every day and accommodating myself to it and feeling like I'm expansive inside, I found that my calling, my true calling, was not particularly fashion, but being a champion and being a winner. And you know what? Stay loose, my friend. Go see the flow and go with the flow. I think we get very rigid as we get older and think there's, this is all there is, but that is not true. There's a whole world out there waiting for you. Just have the strength to discover it.
I love it. Where can our viewers and there's multiple pieces to your life. So what does a life worth living mean to you? But the question I really want to hone in on, how do you help others define themselves?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so like you said, it's a two-part question. The first part you've almost answered in yourself in terms of, what is a life worth living? Well, it matters to you. It's what you think it is, and that's the biggest thing I want to drive across in terms of careers and transitioning. Is you need to step away, as hard as it is, and that's why I suppose having a coach kind of hand by hand and one-on-one helping support you through this process is quite good. And I had a coach myself when I went through the process. Is you need to step away from what other people think about you and other people's perceptions. And I'm not even talking about society. I'm not even talking about your Instagram, the guy who's got the Lambo, the guy who's flashing his Rolex and all the rest of it on your social media. I'm talking about your family and your friends, because actually that is the biggest perception of, I am an accountant, I want to leave, I don't enjoy it anymore. But then you're worried what your uncle, what your parents, your sister, your brother thinks about it, and that stops you from making that leap. So that's the biggest thing, I suppose, first and foremost, is a life worth living is what you define it as. Not what society, not what your friends, what you define it as.
It's about loyalty, right? Loyalty is, I've got your back behind your back. Loyalty is, you've got your back You've got my back behind my back, right? So the most important thing that, when you let's say we're walking into the water cooler in, any situation, and everybody's, dishing on Susie Q. Oh my God, they are just dragging her, that poor girl. And I walk up and say, guys, girls, I know Susie Q, and that's not the girl I know you're describing. Maybe she's just having a bad day. Maybe she just needs a hug. And you turn on your heels and you walk, have a good day, everybody, and you walk away. Now you've just distinguished yourself from everybody else, right? You didn't foment with the tribe. You didn't get in when you like the coyotes do. You didn't drag poor Susie Q. Susie Q is Susie Q. It is what it is, and she is who she is. Be really kind. We are so lacking in just simple kindness these days, and thinking, and thinking outside ourselves, So why don't we just, all be champions in that? Let's all champion one another.
There's a lot of systems that people can build in their lives that will help them do that, and I'm more than happy to give you specifics if you want to hear kind of.
Sure, yes.
Yeah, so like the number one thing for me is my launch sequence. I call it a launch sequence. It's my morning routine, right? Because it's my way of launching myself into my day, right? And so when I talk about morning routines and launch sequences, people are like, why do you call it a launch sequence? And I'm like, because when you watch NASA launch a missile or a rocket into the outer space, they don't just flip a box and hit the red button, right?
No,
like, that's not the way it works. It's
not even close.
This system on, this system on, this system on, right? And yet, what do we do as a society? We roll out of bed, alarm goes off, we grab our phone.
Yes.
Right. You're checking emails. You're checking social media. And I don't know about you, but I've never woken up to an email that says, "Hey man, everything's going really well.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you later." Double thumbs up. Right. Like I never woke up to a DM from Jennifer Aniston. No, like Nia Long is not in my DMs when I wake up in the morning. Right? So like I know that there's nothing good going to come out of me grabbing my phone as soon as I wake up.
Right.
So instead, what I do is I build this launch sequence where it's like, okay, I wake up. First thing I want to do is get some water in my body, get myself settled a little bit, right? Then I want to turn on my mind, right? So how do I do that? Well, I got to check in with myself first. So I'm going to meditate, right? I'm going to spend some time meditating in silence. Find that peace, find that balance, right? Then from there, I'm going to journal, right? I now want to write. I now want to get some things out of me, clear up some space for the day. Right? Then I'm going to start to take some things in. So now I'm going to read a little bit. And I'm going to just take something in and get my mind going a little bit, turn it on. Right, then from there, I want to turn my body on.
Drive, obsessive drive makes it happen. And he talks about his obsessive behavior that, when he was fat, he obsessed about losing the weight to go to become a Navy SEAL. When he couldn't pass the ASVAB, he obsessed about being able to pass the ASVAB. And it's obsession. But he also talks about, I would do these things to earn the right to watch TV.
Got it.
Are you doing all the things to earn the right to go and take care of your family? If you're not, then you didn't care about taking care of them anyway. I'm sorry. It's a hateful thing to say. But if you're telling me, well, I can't go do those things with my family, I have to do these 50 other things. Well, what were you doing so you could? What's your score on Candy Crush right now, pal?
Hey, I got a high score.
But you know what I'm saying? Like
right. No, you're right.
It's motivation fades. Obsession never does.
So my question is, does work-life balance exist? Is it for real, or is it an illusion that the market put out there for us to buy books and audio programs and different things?
I love the question. And the funny thing is, I actually recorded a video about this. I had it out on YouTube a week or two ago. And I think the challenge is when people think of balance, if you think of like scales of justice, scales of whatever, people think of balance as having to be kind of always in this constant homeostasis. And so the challenge I like to give my clients is don't think of balance as a scale where it has to stay perfectly level all the time. But if you think of it as a seesaw, and I can never quite do this with maybe one arm is better. A seesaw is not fun. when it's perfectly balanced. A seesaw has the ebb and flow. The seesaw has the give and take. So if you have work on one end and whatever it is on the other end, whether it's family, whether it's hobbies, whether it's travel, whatever the thing is that work is taking you away from, it's not always about keeping them perfectly lined up with each other, but it's about knowing that in your life, in the situation that you've created with that work, with that career, that there's the give and take.
And I started realizing that selling isn't all about convincing. It's all about emotion.
Yes. Yes.
And how emotions dictate exactly what we are and what we do. Because what you think and what you feel creates reality.
It does.
Your reality, not my reality. But what I speak to you and how I speak to you and the things I say to you and the way I say them to you, perception of what your needs, desires, wants, or problems are. And every single person in the world is emotionally connected to the needs, wants, desires, and problems in their life.
Yes.
Everything else in the world can be a variable, except that.
Thank you, Randy, for sharing that. And you touched on it. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter ethnicity. It doesn't matter religion, political views. None of those things matter when it comes down to emotion, because we make decisions or buying decisions emotionally, and then we logically rationalize our emotional decision. Is that true?
Absolutely. See, what ends up happening is that, and I'll maybe kind of break this down into a couple of pieces here, because it's really kind of important. People,
if you ask a doctor for a test and they say no, say, okay, would you please note that in my chart? And I bet you they'll say, all right, well, I guess we can go ahead and schedule it. They don't want too much information in your chart showing that they were not giving you what you were asking for as a patient, right? Mm-hmm. So if I would have known those things, then I would have known with those three physicians to say, okay, well, I want you to put it in my chart right now that I requested a full spinal MRI and that you refused. I would like you to note that in my chart. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because like for me, like growing up, there was like a set of authority figures, right?
Right.
Doctors, lawyers,
police
judges,
officers.
teachers,
Yep.
police officers,
Yep.
like clergy staff.
Yes.
For people who go to church.
Yep.
There's like all these automatic authority figures that we are pre-programmed almost to like just trust and respect, right? So it's not easy to take on someone you see as an authority figure. Like a lot of times we don't argue with doctors because we're like, but they're the doctor. Yeah, but doctors know the human body, but you know your body. And that's what I want women to understand the most. Everyone, because it happens to men too, but I'm a woman and it happens to women more, and it happens to women of color more, and that's just that's like bare bone facts of it. But like, I want women to know they're not crazy. You're not crazy. Like, what you are experiencing is real. Your pain is real. These other symptoms that you feel and you've been like, it's like nagging you in your head, and you're like, but the doctor said it was fine. I don't care what the doctor said. If it's still nagging you and your gut is telling you something is wrong, go to other doctors. Fire your doctors. You can fire your doctor.
Yes, I agree.
You are not obligated.
You're not. What does it mean to be a champion? You're fairly young. Well, you're 35. You've experienced a lot of things in your life up to this point. You've had some amazing challenges, and you had some even more amazing times where you have overcome those challenges. So please share, what does it mean to be a champion?
For me, it's a very personal journey that think that the biggest aspect of it is not necessarily following society's definition of what a champion is, because if I go chasing a generic dream, it's probably impossible, because if I want to be a champion NBA player, I'm not tall enough and I'm probably not going to make it. But I can be a champion in a small area. I really like what the creator of Dilbert says, Scott Adams.
Yes.
He says that you can't necessarily be the top 1% in one field, but you can be, if you're good at two things and you combine them together, then you can be amazing. And for me, for example, I'm not the greatest software developer out there, and I'm not the greatest business person, but I'm a better software developer than 95% of business owners. And I'm more business-minded than 95% of software developers. So that combination makes me, I don't know that I want to call myself a champion, but heading in that direction.
There you go. Hey, man, own it. Own it. You work hard for it. If you're a champion, doggone it, say it. You're a champion. You deserve it, man.
I ask people to ask themselves 3 fundamental questions, which we should do in our business as well. And that's included in the book. But it's the 3 questions are, where am I? Right? So where am I mentally? Where am I spiritually? Where am I emotionally, physically, vocationally, financially, whatever? Where am I? Then we go, okay, now I know where I am. I'm grounded. I'm present. A lot of people don't have a hard time being present. So you get grounded, you get present. This is where I stand currently. Then I go, where do I want to go? Okay, I'm here, and where do I want to go in the next 6 months or 3 months or a year or whatever? And then after that, the next obvious question is, how the heck do I get there? And these are questions we've all heard before, but sometimes we need that guidance. And the book walks you through those 3 questions in each of the critical areas of life and helps you to create a life map for your future, right? Because
Number 2 is to understand that really, if this life is short, there's a reason for it. And for me, the reason is that every single one of us come with a theme of life. The theme of life is really easy to determine. You just have to be rigorous, honest with yourself, and ask, what is the theme of my life? You could be a person that all throughout your life has had, a bad relationship with finances, or you've been somebody who chronically your partners cheat on you, or you've been somebody who, for some reason, you are addicted to whatever it is. But when you're honest with yourself, rigorous honest, then you realize that, this has been happening for decades. So, if that's the case, what is that I need to learn from this in order to transcend, in order to conquer this area of life? So number 2 is that, there is a purpose, specifically, and it's not to do good to others necessarily, or, build orphanages or hospitals, but it's more of really getting to the bottom of you, and getting to the bottom of you by really asking questions and stay open to the guidance.